Hey y'all, what's up? Big Wooly here, and welcome back to another episode of our FTB Skies Expert Let's Play. So, in today's episode, we are going to get started on our Flux Networks power storage that we wanted to, and we're going to get into the next tier of diesel. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, y'all. So I actually did some prep today, and we have a new Don't Get Distracted Woolly chest right here. So the first thing I said we were going to get started on was our Flux Networks storage, and that starts with lithium dust. So in this first row are the things I think we're going to need for that task. But before we get into it, I am going to ask something early in the episode. If you guys are watching and find yourself come back and you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button for me. I'm so close to 500 subscribers and I really want to get there. So if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks. Now back to your regularly scheduled Minecraft. All right, so sorry for that interruption. I don't know who that guy was. He comes in, asks for subs. Oh, distraction. I ran away from the Don't Get Distracted chest and I got distracted. So we were having issues with sulfur keeping up. And as you can see now, this is not pipes. We had already made the patterns for the overclocking cards. We had just we'd never made them once we got the resources. But if you put in 4 card overclockers, you can crank it up to 64 items per tick, which there's 20 ticks in a second. So these things are capable of moving 64 times 20 items per second. And that, we cranked it up. I'll show you when we get over here. We totally cranked up our stuff here, and I actually had to take off some of the drawers that have 2 things, and some of them you can see aren't able to keep up. So like our soul sand, we are using more soul sand than we're generating. We're going to have to take a look at that and figure out a way to speed up some of the production on a couple of these resources, but for right now, we are maintaining. So, what else did I do? I did a ton in between while I was prepping for all of this episode, but I don't remember what all else. Oh, I threw some tanks here to start capturing chlorine and sodium for when we needed them, and, well, the sodium was already here, but I tied them in on storage buses. And let's see, what else? It's really kind of it, I think, for now. All right, so we need to make lithium dust, and lithium dust comes from putting lithium into the chemical crystallizer, which right now we have lithium in the form of liquid lithium, so we're going to need to decondentrate it down into the lithium gas, and then we can put it into here. So we're going to come right over here on this next line. I don't think we're going to need anything next to it, so we can toss this here. Let's clear the config for all of the things on this so that we can just set it up for the things we want. We'll leave energy on all of them. All right, and so you are going to side config. You're going to take in a fluid from the top, and that fluid is going to be, whatchamacallit, that fluid's going to be liquid lithium. So let's grab out some light blue. We're going to put this here, and then our export bus right here to export our liquid lithium. Liquid lithium. We're going to need to bring power over to this and to the next machine, so let's just go ahead and clear all that out and grab out our universal cables. Run some power. Okay, let's see. Are you still taking in lithium now that you have your setup right? Liquid lithium, rotary condensator, fluids, input, and toggle. Yes, so it can input from the top. Cool. You have to set it to the condensator instead of decondensator. So we're turning it into lithium. Now, the fun starts. So we are going to tell it gases. I guess it's fine. It can take them in from whatever side. We need to tell this one that it needs to output its gas, auto eject on to the right, to our chemical crystallizer, which now will be within range of that drawer controller. And we're going to stick a drawer, and we're going to throw a downgrade in here just to limit it for the time being. And then we need to come in here to items, and we tell it output and auto eject on. Now, the usual dance you do when you throw down a new drawer where you're wanting to control stuff. We grab the controller we want to link to, we add it, and we lock the drawer. And that gets us our lithium dust going that we are going to need to progress with the part we want. Looks like it's only going to take us one channel. Do you have anything useful? No. Just interrupting my episodes, so rude. And there we have it. So we could probably even tighten this up one, toss that on top, have it output to the top, but I'm not that worried about it. I guess in the name of, we made extra dense cable. I was going to say in the name of saving cable, but I'm really just not that worried about it. So there we have it. Step one for the plan for today. We have our lithium crystals being made. Now, what do we have left that we need to do in order to get there? I think we're going to have to let that run a minute, because in order to make the advanced induction cell, which I believe we already placed the recipe for, we are going to need 7 more lithium dust. And then it's going to need to know how to make basic energy cubes, which apparently it does not know how to make. So let's tell it how to make a basic energy cube. Oh, it does know how to make a basic energy cube. All right, so I think it might just be missing the lithium dust. We will have to see. So let's, can we time in a bottle that? Or, sorry, temporal pouch. There we have it. That should have enough of the lithium in there for what we need it for. So, induction, advanced, next. It wants full energy cubes. Wait, available 1, missing 3, to craft 1. It looks like our pattern's got something weird in it. Let's go take a look at that. Basic energy cube, substitutions allowed, yes. 1 basic energy cube. All right. So it says it needs 3 more. So basic energy cubes. Can you make 3? 2, 3. Next. Go. All right. It crafted our 3 basic energy cubes. Now let's go to advanced and see if it's still crying. Available 1, missing 3. Available. It wants a charged one. Why do you want charged energy cubes? So if I take these 3 out and charge them, is that going to make you happy? I mean, it'll only take a second. I don't care about that. I didn't see anything in the pattern that showed a charged one. Actually, let's go pull that pattern and stick it in the thing and see. Stick it into the pattern terminal. So this one. So if we go to the pattern access and we grab our advanced, and we put U in here. Okay, so you show nothing. Oh, it's these right here. So these induction cells are showing a charge. So it's the induction cell recipe that's causing the problem, it looks like. Let's find it. This one. Okay, so pull that one back out. We'll have to redo it with blank induction cells. So yes, this one used our energy cube that had energy stored in it for the pattern, and that was why it wanted ones with energy in them. And so now if we take these out and we just tell it a basic induction cell in these with no power in it, and that makes it So now we should be able to toss these two back in and we'll be good to go. Hopefully. And then we can toss these in. And you should be able to make the advanced induction cell. Ta-da! All right, so we're going to let that work on the advanced induction cell, which is the last piece we need for our Flux, basic Flux storage. Now, did we tell the storage how to make Flux blocks? It knows how to make Flux blocks. So we should be able to, and I think we gave it a pattern for the basic, but we ought to be able to actually just go from here to uses and there, and then uses on that and there. And then the only other things we're going to need to do is we need to go to the recipe on this one, tell it how to make that, and we need to go to the recipe on the ultimate energy cube, tell it how to make that, although I think it may know how to make them. Let's see. Energy. Nope, we only taught it basic and advanced, so it needs the elite as well. So recipe, not for diamonds, for that. Dang it. And there we go for that. So that should get us those, and then the only other one's going to be the elite induction cell. Elite induction cell. And it needs that recipe as well. So with these recipes, we in theory should be able to craft all the way up to the max tier storage if we have enough resources in the system to do it. So we will check that here momentarily. Did you finish our advanced one? You did. All right, so make me a basic storage. Basic Flux storage. Go. Heck yes. There we go. Completing out the Gadgets and Gizmos quest for our Flux network, and we're going to be able to store power on it. Now, are those induction cells in the mechanism quest line? Because if so, we need to pull out one of each of the tiers. It looks like the answer to that is no, it's not. Okay, so now we can just tell it Flux, and then can you go all the way to the gargantuan storage? No, you can't, because you're missing 583 lithium dust. Okay, so we're going to need much more lithium dust. What about the Herculean? Can you go there? We're missing 6. All right, so that means we're going to need to take this stack upgrade out because we're going to need more than a stack. And then if we temporal pouch this, by the time we get back, we should have what we need to go to the second tier of Flux storage, and we can use it together. All right, so Herculean, next. What are we missing? Iron bars. Okay, let's teach you how to make them. Iron bars. There you go. This is why we added all those extra pattern providers a couple episodes ago, is because, you know, when you get into all these nested crafts for your in-game stuff, you're going to want room for these patterns, because the last thing you want is to be stuck sitting here having to craft it all by hand. You know, especially when it's nested like this. And we're missing 6 advanced induction cells, and we're missing a ton. Oh, that's going to be the hang up, is our limited stacks of the alloys. Okay, well, you know what? For showing you guys, and then I can work on it off camera, this is more than enough. So it does not matter where we toss this down. I'm going to come down here, and we'll go right over here next to where some of our other power things are living, and we can just toss it right here. Same as everything else. We're going to throw this on the Big Wooly network, and we're going to tell it that it can bypass the limit and that it can power surge. And what this is going to allow is now our Flux networks is going to be able to store energy within it. So as our network needs big power draws for things, it will be able to pull off of this tiny little 2 million FE buffer quicker than it would be able to pull off of our induction cell or something else for that matter, or at least that's the way I understand it to work. I could be totally wrong on it, but that's kind of how I understand it to work. So anywho, there we have it. Flux power storage. Been wanting to do that one for a while and didn't get to it until now. So before I get distracted at halfway through the episode with a lot more to go, let's go get the next step out of the Don't Get Distracted chest. So the next thing we had on the agenda for today was a big one. This is Flux Infused oil and Flux Infused diesel. So let's get right into it. I went ahead and crafted a bunch of the Flux gems before the episode, but the system has used them for some of the things that it's auto-crafting them for. But we'll go ahead and tell it to make us some more so that hopefully we have enough to fill this buffer up when we get this going. Now this is going to be a fluid that we're making, and it's going to need to go back here somewhere on the fluid networks. Let's just come right over into here. We've got some room right here. So we're going to toss down this advanced mixer. We're going to need ourselves a flux point under it for power. So let's go ahead and get one going. Flux point, because I don't have any in my backpack. Can you make 10? Cool. There we have it. Flux point. So we're going to grab that out, throw it on the Big Woolly network. And we will tell it you too can bypass the limit. Although I don't think it'll need to, so let's just not. So there we have it. We are going to put it right here, advanced mixer. Now this advanced mixer is going to need two things coming into it from an export bus. It is going to need crude oil, capacity card so that we can do more than two, round robin so that it alternates between the two of them, crude oil, and it's going to need a crafting card because it's also going to need Flux Infused gems, which was why we invested so much time on upgrading that power setup, which we're still going to keep working on throughout the future progression. So now we're going to process our crude oil with our Flux Infused gems, but I think that it needs power or heat. No, it doesn't need heat. Okay. So there we go. Now we're going to be generating Flux Infused oil, which, like with the other stuff, we're going to need to send into a refinery. But do we need to store it? Let's see. What are the uses on Flux Infused oil? Let's go look. Flux oil. This is something I did not check. No, we don't need to store it at all. So in theory, we could feed right out of this into our refinery and get our stuff going. So maybe we should just do that. And I can export some Flux Infused biodiesel into a blaze burner. Let's make sure we've got one. Blaze. Ooh, we don't have a blaze burner. All right, gonna need to get us a blaze burner for heat for our refinery, so give me just a moment to get that together. All right, y'all, got that blaze burner together. We're gonna stick it right there in the ground. We've got a couple of ender tanks that were just used for other things that we're no longer using these tanks for what we were using them for, so we're gonna just swap these frequencies over to red, red, red for both of them because the Flux Infused oil is also red, 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 but I'm actually not gonna use them for this. I'm going to use them for the output from the refinery. I'm sorry, I got a little mixed up on what we were doing there. So we're going to output from here right into the back of the refinery via a pipe. But we have this creative blaze cake, and I have never used one of these before, but supposedly it's an everlasting fuel for a blaze burner, which seems good to me because then I don't have to get anything over here. So, all right, infinite burn time. Now he's not super blue, but I don't think we need super blue. So, refinery controller. And then we just get all the way to the top. There we have it. So, ooh, how many lines are we carrying? Oh, no. Oh, no. We may have to walk this around. Or we can take our input from another side. So, now let's grab out our pipe. Advanced mechanical pipe. We're going to go right there. I already told this to auto output. And it outputted right into there. So we don't even have to set the push or the pull on the pipe, and this should start sending our flux infused oil. Our temperature needs higher, but we need to insulate. So what is it? Thermal lagging is the name of that stuff. So let's insulate up all these faces. And then we're gonna put our import buses for our storage on this side here. And that should get all the faces insulated. Now, we're not going to go straight into the storage. I think we're going to go into the ender tank first. So we're going to go import buses, import, import, import. And then we're going to go ender tank here. With a pipe set to extract. And that should get flux infused diesel going in there. And all of our faces are now insulated. Awesome. This will get our flux infused diesel for us to move over to our power gen setup. And then the last thing we're going to have to do is the excess chemicals that we're producing here. We are going to need to get set up on a drawer and tied into our storage system. So let me move around and get to that point, and I will join you guys over there. All right, so I grabbed a bucket of each of the things that setup is producing, and we are going to toss them into fluid drawers. Now, we will be able to set this up with some storage upgrades so we can hold a surplus of our diesel and of these other things, just like with our previous setups. Oh God, no. Mistakes were made. There we go. So now, as with all the others, same little dance. Config card to lock it, linking tool to the drawer controller, and we will add this in. And all of those amounts will start climbing because before I left over there, I set them up on import cards. Now, because we don't really know how much of this we want to hold, I'm just going to start by the standard double netherite with netherite that we've been doing. That'll hold 2,000 buckets of each. We're probably going to want to put it on a void card too, because we will want to void the other things to keep the system from backing up when we are full on them, so that we keep getting our diesel. So now let's do some house cleaning, put things back in the backpacks where they go, and stuff in the storage. And let's head on back to the old base to step up our power game. All right, y'all. So we've cleared things out. We're kind of waiting on this to fill up. Hopefully it will be enough to keep up with these 4 generators running on it. But for starters, since we're hoping to get this up to our 8 coils, we are going to want to clear out this here and expand the number of coils. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's like water wheels and everything else. 8 is going to be our maximum. So let's... Oh, no. Overstressed just by adding another magnet that doesn't do anything. Is 5 the max? Or do we have to wait on our stress units? Hold on, we can figure that out by taking some of this off, because we don't need all that power right now. So if I take this off, we don't have our flight over here, so I can't do that. But does it stop again? No. Okay. There we go. All right, so there's all of our coils. Now we're just waiting on it to burn through the force infused diesel that is in the buffers on these currently. Could I clear that out? Sure. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause here and I'm going to wait the 5 or 10 minutes it's going to take for these to run out of the force infused and get into the flux infused diesel. And then we're going to see just how much we can step this up. How many more magnets are we going to be able to get running on this thing? I mean, who knows? All right, y'all. There we go. I did a couple other things while I was waiting. I ran back to the old base real quick and I grabbed out a 256K storage tank because I realized that importing this into our storage from the ender tank was going to bleed the ender tank dry, and we really want a buffer over here, and I'm going to need to swap that around, but I'd already committed to making this fuel change, so I wanted to set it up this way. And we are gaining. Barely, but we're gaining. So now we have 4 advanced diesel generators running on flux infused diesel, and like I said, we are gaining the diesel just barely. So we're using about as much as we could use without adding like more production or some time torches or whatever. Thanks for the shout out on those 4 ounce. But yeah, so let's see how many of these we can add. I don't have any flight. How do I get up there? What do I have that I can? There we go. Got logs. Presto. Okay, so we should be able to complete this ring for sure because it was almost complete before we started. All right, can we reach everything from here? Yes. Okay. Oh gosh, there we go. Barely. So we completed that ring. Oh, that is not a valid... Well, I mean, it's fine. It can be there, but it doesn't do us any good. Go ahead and just get all the ones we're not going to be able to reach from up top. Now we'll head back up there. And... oh, that broke it. Alright, so... looks like we're not going to be able to go a full 8 rings on our current setup. But let's play with it and see how far we can get. I think this next one's going to be the one that stops it. Yep. Okay. So there we have it. So we got 7 rings and 3. Let's see what we're up to on power gen. You're like, Wooly, why do you need all this power gen? Because we're getting ready to go like nuclear, and you need power. All right, 85.5K FE a tick. I'd say we're getting there. We have 9 magnets left to get up and running. We could probably tie in like a basic generator, but like I was saying, I was kind of worried about whether we're going to be able to keep up. We may need to put some upgrades in some of these for getting oxygen through fast enough. And we are just barely gaining on the diesel. So anything else we put on there as a strain is going to force us to have to change some other things around. But I think that brings us to a great wrapping up point for today's episode. We have added another almost 30,000 FE a tick that we are making at our base. Now, this power right now we're not using, but one of the good things is we are building it up in our induction cell over at the other base. So I'm super excited about that. I can't wait to get in the next episode. I have enough stuff set aside to hopefully get back to back and record another one, maybe even tonight to get a little bit ahead. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, smash that like button, and if you're not subscribed already, please go ahead and do it. We will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.